In this video, we'll discuss creating a configuration. I have the SOLIDWORKS assembly file, hub assembly open, and let's look at adding a configuration for this assembly. From your feature manager, at the top, you can select Configuration Manager. Inside the Configuration Manager, you'll see a tree display that starts with your assembly name, and below it, you'll have a default configuration. Inside here, we have two available ways that we can add a configuration. The first of which is to right click on your assembly name and select Add Configuration. We can define the configuration name, a description, options to use in bill of materials, as well as comments. There are several other options, such as the part number displayed when using a bill of material in your drawing files. We have some advanced options, as well as parent child options. The advanced options are probably the most useful for what we're going to talk about. We have the option to use a configuration specific color, we can suppress or hide new components, and we can suppress new features or mates, and add a save or rebuild mark. We're going to talk about use configuration specific color. If we select a color, such as blue, we have now used a configuration specific color. Once we say OK, you notice that the entire assembly is now colored blue. By default, your SOLIDWORKS parts and assemblies have a gray appearance until you add a material or an appearance to them. Let's look at a secondary option for adding a configuration. If you right click on a configuration name, you notice the option to add a derived configuration. A derived configuration is similar to a configuration with one exception. The derived configuration has a link to its parent configuration. Now, this means that any changes you make to a parent configuration will trickle down into your derived configuration, but any changes that you use in your derived configuration will not go back to the parent configuration. This is important when you need to make multiple sub-configurations of a single component. For instance, if you have an assembly such as this hub assembly that uses a different lug size or different lug length, if your main configuration all use the same 4 lug pattern, but maybe you want to change different configurations of those lugs, you might want to make a derived configuration. However, if the subconfigurations have a different lug pattern, such as a 5 or a 6 lug hub, then you may or may not want to use a derived configuration for that specific case. You notice that we do have advanced options here as well. We can turn off use configuration specific color, say OK, and notice that it was not created within our new configuration. Because our parent configuration uses a specific color, that value has to be set in our derived configuration. Once we say OK, we now have created a derived configuration. So it's important to note that these configurations have to share some properties. If we edit the properties of our new configuration, in advanced options, if we change the color to, let's say, red, we say OK, this color is now changed. If we go to our derived configuration, it has also changed to red. These configurations now give you available options to do things like hide components, change their appearance, or even for future reference, we can create exploded views, break views, or even link certain display states to those models.